Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who'd have thought they'd lead you? Who'd have thought they'd lead you? Back here where we need you. Back here where we need you. Yeah, the tease him a lot, cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
All right, give it a stretch. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's good. Oh, that's good.
Okay, welcome back. All right, so I've been spending this last break session looking into this thing to try to get it work, and I don't think I got it working. I don't know, so I figured we'll take a look and see if there's something maybe I'm missing. All right, so now, if anybody knows me, knows that I'm a big fan of like optimization and trying to make things faster for users on the web, right? Specifically like the websites. And so so previously I was doing things like, let me think, yeah, I'll do share by tab for right now. Cool. So I've used things in the past like intersection observer API, you know what I'm saying? So it's using some JavaScript to tell when something comes into the viewport that you can see, right? So if it's off screen, I feel like there's no point in like rendering it or loading it, right? Because the person hasn't seen it yet. But as it comes into the viewport where it can be seen, then you can load it like right before, you know what I'm saying? And so this helps with that. And they have an example somewhere. Where is the example? Well, I'm gonna go to the simple example that they show. Oh, so you can kind of see here, like this is at 63%, there's 100% showing or whatever. And see 47% of it's showing, 100% of this one is showing. And see like 92% of this is showing. I mean, so that's pretty cool, right? Now, let's see. Oh, here's a simple example. And so this simple example causes a target element to change its color and transparency as it becomes more or less visible. So that's a pretty good way of being able to see this thing in action. So at timing element visibility with the intersection observer API, you can find a more extensive example showing how to time how long a set of elements such as ads, are visible to the user to react to that information by recording statistics or by updating elements. So you want to kind of see like how long that ad has been shown on the page. Maybe it's a way of charging. I don't know. But let's see. Okay, that's something else. All right, so here we go. So you have the HTML, you have this box, ID box, right? Class, vertical, and welcome to the box, right? Then they have some CSS, and so it's going to show like how the color changes and also the background color here. And then it goes, all right, so then using some JavaScript, and then you see they're increasing the color, decreasing the color, yada, yada, yada. Now, I just want to show the example. You can go, I'm going to post a link to this so you can check it out for yourself. Just kind of like skimming through this real quick. This is not what I want to talk about, but this kind of leads into it, right? And so here's all the stuff you can do. Now, the actual example. So you can see here, so it's like, see it turn blue a little bit, darker, darker, darkest, and it starts to get back light, well, it turns to red, and starts to get light again. All right, cool. That's pretty dope. So you can use that to load elements or make calls or whatever right when the person needs to see it. All right, so cool. So that was that one. Then there's this other one, which is pretty dope. So that was using JavaScript. This one now is something that you do on the element that you're looking to load. And I'm adding a link to this and saving that. So the HTML image element loading property, right? So the HTML image element property loading is a string whose value provides a hint to the user agent on how to handle the loading of the image, which is currently outside the Windows visual viewport. So again, all this is depending on whether or not the person can see it, basically, right? The visual viewport, if it's showing up on the page, right? If it's showing on the screen. All right, so this helps to optimize the loading of the document's contents by postponing loading the image until it's expected to be needed, rather than immediately during the initial page load, which again will help with optimization, right? So then you have a couple of options. So there's eager and then there's lazy. Eager is the default value, right? And so it loads it as soon as the image is processed, even if it's not in the viewport. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's off screen. And then lazy is it tells the user agent to hold off on loading the image until the browser estimates that it will be needed imminently. For instance, if the user is scrolling through the document, a value of lazy will cause the image to only be loaded shortly before it will appear in the Windows visual viewport. So it's kind of like with the intersection observer API, except like this is for images, and so it's kind of like for that, right? Because with the other one, you can do the images also, but in pretty much anything also. You can see with like the fading of that box before. Now, the thing is, JavaScript must be enabled. All right. So loading is only deferred when JavaScript is enabled. This is an anti-tracking measure because if a user agent supported lazy loading when scripting is disabled, it would still be possible for a site to track a user's approximate scroll position throughout a session by strategically placing images in a page's markup such that a server can track how many images were requested and when. Wow. See, I never even thought of that. That's devious. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, so there's that. Cool. Now, the thing I want to talk about today that I couldn't get working is this article that I saw on, let me share this tab instead, on web.dev. So now there's a CSS property that can boost your rendering performance, right? So I'm going to copy this and paste that also so you can check it out for yourself. All right, so now, so it's baseline 2024. So it's dope. That means all the major browsers, like the latest versions, support them. Cool. And so you can see is available in all three major browser engines and become baseline newly available as of September 16, 2024. Cool. So a few months ago. So now the content visibility property enables the user agent, again, all this user agent stuff, so basically the browser, to skip an element's rendering work, including layout and painting, until it is needed, right? So you're still loading it, but the rendering of it. So it's still, so from what I can see, it's still making the fetch call to the resource. It's just not rendering it, like showing it up on there or like doing the layout stuff. You know what I'm saying? So until it is needed. Because rendering is skipped, if a large portion of your content is off screen, again, not in the visual viewport, using the content visibility property makes the initial user load much faster. It also allows for faster interactions with the on-screen content. Pretty neat. So I mean, since it doesn't have to spend like the effort in rendering all these things that aren't being seen anyway, you'll be able to like click with stuff, click buttons and things a lot quicker instead of waiting for all that stuff to render. Cool. All right. So you can see the different browser support. So it's been a minute. So like, I think they're on like 200 and something, 300 with Chrome and Edge. So cool. All right. So here it is. So here's the baseline. So if you don't do anything with the content visibility, right? But then if you have content visibility with certain parts set to auto, all right? So they're saying that if you're just loading it normally, the loading takes 23 milliseconds, the scripting 22 milliseconds, and then the rendering, if it's a bunch of images, 232 milliseconds, right? And then painting them, and then the system itself or whatever, right? Cool. Then with the content visibility auto, then most importantly is the rendering went from 232 milliseconds to 30 milliseconds. So spent a lot less time rendering like these images. And I think other stuff too, like I think just rendering in general, even like text maybe, I'm not sure. But I'm more concerned with like images. All right, so you can see it says it in our article demo, applying content visibility auto to chunked content areas gives a 7x rendering performance boost on initial load. Read on to learn more. All right, so they talk about a whole bunch of stuff here, right? So basically, skip rendering work with content visibility. Again, I posted a link to this so you can check it out for yourself. All right, so it may be hard to figure out which containment values to use since browser optimizations may only kick in when an appropriate set is specified. You can play around with the values to see what works best, or you can use content visibility to apply the needed containment automatically. Cool. I'm cool with doing it automatically. Content visibility ensures that you get the largest performance gains the browser can provide with minimal effort from you as a developer. Sounds awesome. That is literally what I'm looking for. All right, so the content visibility property accepts several values, but auto is the one that provides immediate performance improvements. Awesome. An element that has content visibility auto gains layout, style, and paint, which they talk about here up here. So if you want to read more about that, you can check it out there. If the element is off screen and not otherwise relevant to the user, relevant elements would be the ones that have focus or selection in their subtree. It also gains size containment and it stops painting and hit testing its contents. All right. So what does this mean? In short, if the element is off screen and you can't see it in the viewport, right, its descendants are not rendered. Cool. The browser determines the size of the element without considering any of its contents, and it stops right there. Most of the rendering, such as styling and layout of the element's subtree, is skipped. All right, so as the element approaches the viewport, the browser no longer adds the size containment and starts painting and hit testing the element's contents. This enables the rendering work to be done just in time to be seen by the user. So again, so it's kind of so it reminds me of like that loading element and the intersection observer API. All right. So they talk about accessibility, which is super important, and they have this blog thing, right? Cool. And they see this demo on CodePen. Great. So that's what I did. I wanted to check it out and see for myself that I'm having to build my own thing, right? And they talk about the thing here. Cool. So, and they explain some stuff. Now, like I mentioned, I went to the CodePen. And so this is what I got. So I have to stop the screen share. And so I went to the CodePen. Let me screen share. I think I'm going to have to do window maybe. And I'm looking for this one. So let's see if this will show up. All right. So here's the demo, right? Now, a couple of things. They use Unsplash, and maybe the Unsplash API changed or the feature is no longer there, but none of the images show up, right? So I replaced them with images from my radio show. All right. So that's one thing. And then also, you can see here, right here. So they have this story class, and this is where they're doing the content visibility stuff. All right. Cool. Now, the class was story. So then if you go to one of the elements where they applied it, like the class, the original didn't have quotes around it. So I think that could have been my first issue when I was messing around with it. So it wasn't actually applying it because I'm pretty sure you need quotes, like if you have a class, right? Because first it looked like this. They all look like that. And so I went through and so I changed the images and I added quotes around the story class. All right, cool. Great. So now it looks like this right here. Cool. So this is it here. All right, great. So then that's, like I said, it has a bunch of images from my radio show. All right. Now, if you notice, I don't have here. Hold on. Content visibility. Where is it? It was web.dev. Hold on. Web.dev. Content visibility. Here we go. Okay, so you can see here in this image, right? So I was looking like, hey, how did they get this graph here, right? So I searched through the browser, and what I found is that there's a performance tab, right? And this is where I think that they got that image from. All right, so now I'm going to do this, which is reload and record and reload the performance of it, right? So I'm going to click this, which doesn't show up on there. Interesting. It just shows like I'm highlighting over the button. Interesting. That's cool. So here we go. And this takes like a second. And again, so one of the things I saw before, because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, I didn't pick up on the rendering part. So it does load the images, like it makes the calls to the images, right? And but it just doesn't render them. And so you can see here this says 1 millisecond, right? And this is with this thing basically turned off. All right. So 1 millisecond rendering, no painting. So I'm still not exactly sure what is happening. So that's what this says, right? Cool. Again, I got to look more into this. I could not get this to work for the life of me. This is not how I thought it would work. So you can see 1 millisecond rendering, 0 painting, the system idle, loading 4 milliseconds. It's pretty damn quick. So now, if I turn this on, right, the story class, right, so now it's on, save. I'm going to refresh this whole page, right? So you see 1 millisecond rendering. Can't get much faster than that, I don't think, right? So I refresh the page, all right? And then also, just to show that the network tab, like, see, all the images still load, even though they're not showing up. You know what I'm saying? All right, cool. I just wanted to show that. Now, if I do the performance tab, right, and I reload and record again, we'll see what happens. Because if they had like 7x with it on, you know what I'm saying, this rendering time, I mean, I see, so I don't know what is happening because now it's saying 2 milliseconds. So I'm not exactly sure what's happening. It got slower by a millisecond, but still. So I'm not sure. So like 8 seconds, 8909 milliseconds, right? Then the previous one, I think. Oh, wait, maybe overall. Let me see. Because see, this was like 16 seconds. Well, no, wait, what? Wait, what? Hold on. I don't know. Yeah, they're saying 15.56 seconds, which I guess was we did before. And the one we just did is like half. Don't know. Yeah, so that's the thing. I'm not sure what's happening. So wait, let me try this again with it on. And maybe because it's in a code pen where it's in a actual. See, now I get like 1 millisecond, but then it's saying, but then it's like 10 seconds to do it. Yeah, so I don't know. I have no clue. You know what I'm saying? And so I'll probably try and look more into it. But if anybody has any sort of like understanding of what's happening, you know what I'm saying, and you can like shed some light on it, because I don't know what's happening. It doesn't seem like it's doing anything. So yeah, and this is the demo that they had. So it's not like something I created where I, could have messed that up. So I don't know. So like I said, a few things could be causing it. I'm not sure. But it doesn't seem like it's really gaining anything for me. So, all right, cool. So let me get y'all back to work. Again, thanks for hanging out. Let me send y'all off with some traveling music. Let me set this up here. Cool. All right. So thanks for hanging out. See you 15 minutes after the hour. We'll take a look at an artist's website. Maybe listen to some music, watch some videos. Maybe you'll become a fan. So until then, I wish you much productivity. Thanks again for hanging out. So this is Anthony Cruz, aka A Butter. The track's called Thank You. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next break session. All right. Thanks again. Peace.
I want to say thank you for holding on when a brother was down and out. Now I feel so strong, and I want to say thank you for being there when a brother had nowhere to turn to. You were there, and I feel like you. And everybody says, we spread love like you. I wanna say thank you for holding on when a brother was down and out. Now I feel so strong, and I wanna say thank you for being there when a brother had nowhere to turn to. You were there.